F.O. Malula, the top NC stalwart with a sharp tongue and combative opinions, has done the unthinkable as leaked audio evidence has surfaced, and on it, President Ramaphosa's own voice could be the instrument of his downfall. If the audio is confirmed, it will spark investigations, outrage among the public, and even prosecutions with the stakes as high as they can get and the consequences that could topple South Africa's government entirely. In the audio clip leaked, currently doing the rounds in political circles and raging on social media like wildfire, Ramaphosa is reportedly talking about internal ANC finance, election rigging, and shady business involving big business interests. These are not routine allegations or loose words but words which, if authenticated, indicate calculated measures to ensure political power while protecting the party from scrutiny. Although the tape has not been yet authenticated by outside experts in forensic science, most inside players are already certain that it is real, as the voicing of the sound is clear, the tone of the discussion natural sounding, and the specifics talked about have generated speculation that the president himself is on the tape. But this is the twist that left the nation stunned, because the leak didn't originate from an investigative reporter who was probing the party's secrets, nor did it originate from an opposition party looking to make political capital. No, it originated from within, as the source is F.O. Malula himself, through design or accident, where the audio emerged from a secret ANC meeting where tempers reportedly fled and emotions ran high, and as reported by those who were there, the debate got out of hand. And amidst that disarray, the president said things that now risk destroying all he has based his career on. The most damning revelation of the audio is that Ramaphosa supposedly confesses that the ANC will do anything to protect itself rather than tackle corruption. Even worse, he intimates that revealing some truths would bring down the whole ANC system, and if true, that one confession is sufficient to ruin the long-developed reputation he spent years constructing, as it is the sort of statement that will dog him for the remainder of his political career. This is not another scandal in a long list of ANC scandals, because this is the President of the Republic, the head of state, the man whose political career has been made on the basis of promises of reform and renewal. For years, Ramaphosa has been holding himself out as the clean-up man, the guy who would eliminate corruption after the disastrous Zuma years, as he campaigned on transparency, accountability, and dignity in government. But this tape, if real, tells a very different story by depicting him as a party to whitewashing corruption to ensure his party's survival rather than the reformer. The implication of such a confession is vast, since the message on the recording is not merely one of passivity but of active complicity in covering up accountability, as it is suggestive of manipulated internal investigations, muzzled whistleblowers, and even expenditure of public funds to shield the ANC reputation. The implication, in short, is that the president is not merely accepting corruption but is masterminding its cover-up. The political cost of this can't be overstated, as opposition parties are already in a feeding frenzy, calling for an immediate independent investigation, with the DA, the EFF, and minor opposition parties capitalizing on the moment, declaring this evidence that the president has betrayed the public trust. Even in the ANC, the silence from those who had so vocally rallied to his defense is resounding, as loyal supporters are keeping their heads down, observing closely which way the political breezes will shift before signing up. The deficit of trust between the people and the government was already perilously wide, since South Africans have tired of promises, tired of speeches of renewal that never materialized into actual change, and that deficit could become a chasm under this scandal, because for many citizens, the tape is the proof of what many already suspected, that the struggle against corruption was always more about show than substance. But why everyone is wondering, would Malula have released this tape? As some analysts think it was a careless mistake, since Malula is notorious for his indecisiveness, for talking without thinking, and for handling sensitive information sloppily, but others argue it was not a mistake at all but policy, as they view it as a deliberate act in a party wrecked with intra-party infighting. By publishing the audio, Malula could be knowingly throwing Ramaphosa under the bus, with the reasons for him being anything from aligning himself with opposition groups to destabilizing the president's power base to setting himself up as a leadership candidate, since Malula has always had aspirations beyond his present position, and in the unpredictable sands of ANC politics, one daring act can do it all. but it's a risky game because if this gambit fails, he might be expelled, marginalized, or politically demolished. But if it succeeds, however, he might emerge as a new kingmaker, possibly even a presidential candidate. Whichever his reasons are, the impact is undeniable as the ANC is shaken to its foundations, with the party, already fractured and reeling from waning support, now confronting one of its most serious internal crises in decades. The word from the president's office is deafening, as his failure to answer so far is a classic political maneuver to maintain silence, wait, and pray that it blows away. But this tempest does not look like it is going anywhere. There are demands for emergency parliamentary hearings from the opposition. Groups of civil society want answers. There is round-the-clock coverage in the media, and rumors hint that the courts might soon be called upon to step in, and if outrage from the public grows further, it is safe to say it will, as the ANC will have to make a decision to stand by its president or stand by what little credibility it has left, with neither being easy, since to stand by him would put the entire party further into scandal, while to leave him would risk splitting the ANC from within. And if independent investigations verify the legitimacy of the audio, the verdict appears inevitable, as calls for resignation will mount and impeachment processes might follow, for a man who went into office with promises of a new dawn. Such an end would be a crushing irony, as what started as an intimate conversation behind closed doors can now topple not only a presidency but possibly redefine South African politics overall. The stakes reach far beyond party politics, as global investors are paying attention, concerned about stability and governance. Civil society is mobilizing, demanding that corruption cannot be pushed aside yet again. Global partners who previously greeted Ramaphosa as a reformer are resetting their expectations. The individual who was once greeted as South Africa's savior now threatens to be remembered as yet another leader who failed to deliver on his promise, as the ANC's reputation, bruised already, might not survive this. Now the question is not if this scandal will shape Ramaphosa's presidency, because it already has.